But yeah, with that being said, though, it's one of those things where it's just up in the air, man. I mean, no person can sit up here and be like, yeah, I'm talking about like with absolute certainty, be like, hey, this team is going this and that. Like I said, if you are a fan of the sport, you're gonna have doubts about any team you pick as of right now, because they all can be knocked off. And the way I'm looking at it is like, you can't tell me that is awesome, man. That's awesome, because we ain't had it in a while. We ain't had it. Everybody was happy to see New England lose, because it's just, it's something different. Everybody's saying it's the death of a dynasty, this and that. I mean, shit, I hope so. They've reigned supreme forever. Seem like it. But it's one of them things, man. Like, it's just good. Something different is good every now and then. I'm happy the Saints got knocked out. Fuck them. I don't like them. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to, my partners that are Saints fans. It ain't nothing personal, but it's just it's a rivalry. You know what I'm saying? That's another old squarehead bastard I can't stand. Michael Thomas. I'm not saying I don't respect this game. He a baller. You know what I'm saying? He the man. He is the man. But I don't like him. And he'll crybaby ass. He'll fucking crybaby. That's exactly what he is. Always got something to say. He another old Twitter fingers ass motherfucker, man. But fuck his old squarehead ass too, man. Old stone face ass motherfucker. But you know what I'm saying? These young cats these days, boy, hey, these some goddamn strong, aggressive facial features having motherfuckers these days, man. I mean, like, goddamn, you know what I'm saying? You don't see that, like, especially with these younger guys, man. Like, younger baby face. Well, Patrick Mahomes kind of look young. He looks a little bit young, and but like I said, it be some old strong, struggle face ass motherfuckers in this bitch, man. And boy, I can't stand Mike Thomas, man. I can fucking go in on him all day. Like I said, I never said I ain't respect him. That's a difference. But he always fucking got something to say, man. He always got his ass on Twitter crying about something, man. So, I'll be so happy when they get fucking put out of the playoffs, man. And that's another thing. Even with Breeze. I mean, last 2 years ain't been looking too good, man. Not in the playoffs. Where do we go from here? As far as that. You know what I'm saying? He a legend, man, but he on his last leg. It's about time for him. I mean, I know we talk about Brady, but you got to throw Breeze in there too, man, because you seeing a decline. You are. Like I said, he does his thing, but for some odd reason in the playoffs, man, these guys are vulnerable. And they be, they get knocked out. You know what I'm saying? But the last, couple years that you've seen from him, his play in the playoffs, you can't tell me that, it's been like that regular season Drew Brees. But you're starting to see a diminish of that arm strength. You know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong or whatever. He's good, anything. I'm going to say less than 20 yards. You know what I'm saying? He can still get it there, accurate, with some zip on it. But if he got to start, like, letting loose that cannon, man, you starting to see that arm strength diminish, man. Especially, which is going to really limit, their abilities to open up the field with some speed, like a Ted Ginn Jr. It makes his game obsolete, because Ted Ginn Jr., he's the wheels. That's his job, to get, take the roof off of a secondary. So, yeah. I mean, it's going to be interesting, though, man. But I think they need to go ahead and start planning. Is Teddy Bridgewater going to be the predecessor of Drew Brees, or is he just a Band-Aid on the situation until they get him in there? That's something that they're going to definitely have to address, that organization, man. And we will see. I'm really anxious, too, to see, because I'm not really I ain't down on Jimmy Garoppolo, but he's been fortunate enough to because, I mean, if people look at it, with him being hurt, this is his first full season, too. As a starting quarterback, full season. This is his first one. He got hurt last season, and when he was in New England, he started off and got hurt a few games in. So, we had already seen his game in flashes and we saw the potential, but this is his first season as a starting QB. And I mean, he's been very fortunate himself to play with a really good defense that, are able to take away some of those bad plays or production, like if the offense hasn't been producing. However, I've seen him make some good plays, man, that that you kind of see where you spent your bread at also. So I'm real anxious to see, how he responds to that NFC Championship, whichever team they're going to play, Green Bay or Seattle, especially being that they got home field advantage. So I really want to see, if he's worth it, Like I said, we seeing a lot of subpar performances. They beating the brakes off some motherfuckers, but, I don't count that. I count what you can do in the playoffs and what you do against good teams. I don't count that shit against the scrubs. Don't get me wrong, everybody come to play, but we all know it's not the same. And we're going to see. It's going to be a telltale sign if Frisco made the right decision with him too. Because if they ever get into a game where it's locked up defensively, he gonna have to come up big, so I'm interested. That's something else I got my eye on as far as next week. That's something that I'm looking at. But other than that, like I said, man, if you are an NFL fan of the sport, man, like a real fan, like, don't get me wrong. Again, I'm gonna reiterate that for the fourth time. Yes, I'm just as bitter. Hell, my team ain't in it either. But I mean, man, the playoffs. This a good, good little run, man. This is gonna be something to remember for one of these teams, and it just feels good that we're not gonna see the usual, type of suspects. Primarily New England. So it's definitely gonna get interesting these next this week and next week. It's gonna be extremely interesting, and we will see. I'm gonna draw a conclusion and give my picks who I think will go to the Super Bowl based off who win the night. I'm doing an analysis. Give me a day or two, do a nice little analysis, this and that, get my mind right on what I see, do a little research, and I'll get back with you on who I think will, represent the AFC in the Super Bowl, who will represent the NFC. But we're going to see, man. There's a lot of legacies on the line, too, because Aaron Rodgers is another one that, we talk so highly of and talk about how great he is and this and that. This is a golden opportunity for him to prove that, because he only got one. And, like people talk about talent-wise, he's one of the best, if not the best. You hear that a lot about Aaron Rodgers, everything that he can do. But, it's one thing to talk about what you can do versus what you've done. So, this is a golden opportunity for him as well. This is a golden opportunity for Russell Wilson to show that he can carry a team. Because everybody counted Seattle out. Nobody thought Seattle was going to be this good. And he's proven. He's carried the team. Don't get me wrong. They got beast mode back. And from, what is being reported, we're going to see a healthy dosage of them, which they need to win. Especially since Carson went down. But they need him. But we still know who's the catalyst of that team. And it's Russell Wilson. So this is big for him also, man, because this will put him in an elite group if he could get it done. Think about that. How he'll be viewed. We talk about so many, one-man gangs, and as far as, in the NFL and, this and that, and how critical we are when it comes to quarterbacks. But imagine if he could get it done. What if he pulls it off? When nobody thought, don't get me wrong, because they got Russell Wilson, we always knew that they could contend. But at the same time, they've been piecing this team together. They got a lot of young talent. So, imagine what this could do for his legacy. So, same thing. Like I said, I can go to the other side. Deshaun Watson, these two young guys, man. You know, him and Patrick Mahomes. You know, everybody's, you know, ready to anoint Patrick Mahomes as the man, especially, well, up until this season, especially he got, you know what I'm saying, started getting hurt too, that, you know, he rolled that ankle a few times or whatever. He, you know, so he's been on a bad wheel here, at least a third of the season. You know what I'm saying? He had to get his, you know, get his legs back and everything of that nature. But, you know, this is a lot for him too. Just being young, and like I said, he's one of the guys. He's one of the guys that was looked at as the guy. And I think that he will also, you know, because with greatness comes criticism. The great season that Lamar Jackson had with those guys exiting the playoffs so early, a lot of people are going to swing back to Patrick Mahomes and his greatness as far as what they see when they talk about the young guy that, you know, that has it and everything. And you're going to see that a lot because they're going to hold this over Lamar Jackson's head, even though he had a phenomenal year. They're going to hold this over his head, man. People talking about he bust this and that. He still threw for over 300 and had damn near 150 yards rushing. So, you know, yeah, some of it was kind of, you know, filler empty yards, you know, especially with the passing. But at the same time, you know, man, put some respect on that man's name, man. He didn't prove that, you know, he ain't going nowhere. He here to stay. But it's just one of those things that I think a lot of people, they're going to be big on Mahomes, man, especially if he shows up tonight or this evening. If he shows up this evening, they're going to be real big on him again because, like I said, Lamar Jackson just basically stole the limelight this year and ran with it, you know. But I think a lot of fans and, you know, people are going to swing back towards Patrick Mahomes to be that it guy if they can pull this out and they can even, you know, just kind of get to the Super Bowl, because that's another team that could do it. They're going to really look at him like, you know what I'm saying, that guy if he can get there. But I still think, like I said, Superman in a way. And that's Deshaun Watson until he proves me wrong. Like I said, I just like Watson, man. Out of all the young guys, I don't know, man. I've seen him do it. I think that's the thing with me. I've seen him win on the big stage as far as even it being college, man. We see how intense college football is, you know, which is a whole nother episode. But we've seen him do it. You know, when they lost to Alabama, we seen he came to play. And even when they beat Alabama, you know, primarily because of him and his play. So it's going to be, you know, very interesting to see, like, you know, these two young guys, man, to see them go at it. I'm really, really, really feeling that, man. I think it's going to be both of the games today, man, like, or, you know, can't miss. Like, yeah, this is just one of those days where, you know, it's a toss-up. You can flip a coin, really, in both games. That's my opinion. But other than that, you know, oh man, another day. I will definitely do a follow-up to, like I said, what the predictions will be next week. We're gonna see where I'm standing at that. But I will definitely do a follow-up. I also wanna I got a couple episodes too, you know what I'm saying, in the holster as far as with boxing. Shout out to Clarissa Shields, you know what I'm saying, 3 Division Unified. She did her thing against Ivana Hasbin. She beat the hell out of her. But hey, man, that little 24-year-old, man, she the real deal, man. And I mean, it's lovely to see Shakur Stevenson, Badu Jack, and even Terrence Crawford there at her, her fights, supporting her, man. That's awesome, man. Andre Ward, you know what I'm saying? Those guys, they love her. So, you know, shout out to her. And holla at your boy, man. It's another episode for you. I appreciate y'all. Much love to the fan base. I'm out.